There is some absolute joy in being able to work from home. I get to walk through this every single day on my way to work. It's not bad. Just thought I would show you a little bit of the space that I work in. This is my main workspace. So there's a bit of wood on there, and I'm going to start some work on that in a minute and go through some different ideas of processing, because I do things a little bit back the front, and I'm going to just show you that. But that's cool. I've got everything all jumbled up around me. It's all within easy reach, and including this set of shelves, which has got all of my offcuts and smaller bits of wood and some work in progress as well. So you can see I've roughed out some spoons and bowls, and then there's a whole lot of blanks that are just basically trimmed up from offcuts that I have been using before. So yeah, so they're all in easy reach. There's my workbench. I get to look outside. It's not too bad, really. So let's start this next bit. How did I get here? Curious one. It takes a lifetime sometimes to get to a place, and I guess I sort of come into that category a little bit. I have really come into the making of spoons and my vessels very, very late in my little creative career. I'm 51, I'm 52 this year, and I've only been at this for about 3 years. So yeah, pretty interesting. Anyway, pottery. My mum is a pottery artist, and so from 2 I grew up in her pottery shed. I went on through high school, continued to paint and create and do all of that sort of stuff that you do through high school. Got to the end of high school, wanted to have a year off before I went to uni, became a picture framer. Picture framing actually set me up for this. It gave me the confidence to play around with power tools, and I use power tools in this workshop. That's how I make my spoons and my vessels. Oh gosh, creativity, it never stopped. Picture framing, yep, did that. Jewellery, I was in jewellery design. I worked for some really big name jewellery companies and designed a huge amount of jewellery, engagement and wedding rings along the way, which was a lot of fun. Furniture making course, lead light courses, scrapbooking, sewing, gardening, it just layers and layers of creativity. It's, you know, if you do a family history of my art and creativity, it's quite large. So that really brought me to a time, and then in this next sort of time of my life, I was invited up to a girlfriend's workshop. She makes amazing chopping boards and platters and amazing things, and I was just there. I was just helping and learning her processes and seeing her methods of making and so on. And then one day I went up there, and as she always said, "What are you going to make today?" And I said, "I'm going to make a wooden spoon." And she went, "Have at it. Go for it." It was that thing of, I can't really help you, so go and find what you need to find to make your wooden spoon. And that is exactly what I did. I picked up a scrap of an offcut of her chopping board, lovely piece of jarrah. I had this idea already in my head of what I wanted my spoon to look like and how I wanted it to feel and all that sort of stuff. And I literally went from this point of being, I know that's where I want to get to, but I'm starting here. How do I get from here to there? And I just slowly, really slowly worked through finding bits and pieces that would perhaps work to try and get that little scoop out, and that would perhaps work to form up the shape. And at the end of the day, a very, very long day, I did have my very first wooden spoon, which I still have, and it's the benchmark of where it all started and how far I've come, I guess, from that point. It also started well, that was great, but how can I make it better? How can I do that better? And my whole headspace was just going, oh, this is exciting, I love this. And then I guess from that point, a little bit of my pig-headedness came into play. A lot of my pig-headedness comes into play to a lot of things. And that was that I didn't want to go onto YouTube and see how it was done. I really wanted to keep that naivety, I guess, in my work knowledge, and just create, you know, like if you've got this scrap of wood and looking at it and going, oh, what can I make with that, and how can I make that, and knowing what I wanted to do. Again, same sort of thing. I knew what I wanted to achieve, but I had no idea of the tools that were out there. And because I was working with scraps and because I was working with dry, hard woods, I really needed to go backwards and forwards until I found the tools that then allowed me to do what my imagination was saying. You can do this, but how do I get there? How do I get there? What do I do? What can I find? And it was that scramble of trying so many different things. I will show you. Where is it? I've put it down here. Here we go. Excuse me. This was the very first thing that I ever used. Can you see that? A burr. And that was the first thing that I used to scoop out my wooden spoons. I kid you not. And then bit by bit, again, you know, we got down to finding out that there was this thing called a ball gouge by a company called Arbortech. And then my whole world just opened up. And from that point, I was able to catch up with what was in my imagination. Those two things melded together. And trust me, I tried all sorts of other crazy, dangerous shit before that point. But yeah, the ball gouge, game changer. Okay, so processes. How do you start? Where do you start? All that sort of stuff. Look, I just say start. If you want to go and do the whole YouTube thing and understand how other people do it, absolutely go ahead. There's a wealth of knowledge out there, as I said. So, but for me, I'm a little bit of a throw the rule books out and just find the way that works for you. And you have to try all the different ways for that to actually happen. You can't just go, oh, I'm going to follow exactly that person and I'm not going to change anything and that's going to be my work. Of course you can do that, but then it's not really you. And it's not your method. You've just taken somebody else's idea and you've created something that's the same. So I always say, you know, learn all of it. Try all the different stuff. Get it all happening. Build up that massive base of your own experiences, and then put that down and walk backwards, dump it all, and then walk back in, relearning your own style. Make it yours so that someone else can pick it up and go, I know who did this. That's that person. That's you. So one of the little things about method is, and a little bit of what I've already said is that, you know, I think it's so important that you learn the way that works for you. And the only way, as I've said, is to try the different ways. And if you find that hand tools are your thing and you can sit in your lunch break and you can carve things out quietly, and if that fits in with you, or again, just try all the different ways and see what works for you. So again, coming back to how you go out and, you know, I jump in the deep end and I do the stuff that I do. So when I first started, I didn't know that the general method for making a spoon was to actually either axe it out or cut it out on a bandsaw or whatever. So I sort of went about things completely differently. I had a chunk of wood and the offcut that I was talking about, and I started off with actually scooping out, nothing like this. This is a scoop. But I actually started with the internals, this part here. And then I cut out the external on the bandsaw, that kind of notion. And then I went about shaping the rest of it from there. And again, like I said, I had an idea of what I wanted to see, and I started back here and scrambled to find all the bits and pieces that I needed. So essentially, though, that method is still pretty much how I work. I start off with, my piece of wood, either an offcut, because I still use offcuts, or sometimes it's a log of wood. I've got, bits and pieces like this just sitting underneath my bench here, ready to go, that are still quite in their raw form. And, I'll start off with that and off I go. But with something like that particular piece that I just showed you, I would still actually clamp that down, shape out with the ball gouge or of late the precision cutting system, the very small ball gouge particularly, to get that shape that I like. And it's rough. It's not actually how it ends up. When I started this one, it was quite a true circle. And as I've worked the piece, I've elongated that circle here so that it's a nicer shape. So it just starts to read, into a beautiful form. And I think that's sort of one of those little things that I do that's a little bit different. Kind of go a little bit backwards. Story of my life. So that's sort of how it goes. So this is the piece that I've been working on to show you guys. So again, ball gouge through here, cut it out on the bandsaw, get that external shape, and then I shape it up from there. This is not finished yet, but it's getting close to a form that I'm really happy with, and it's looking pretty cool. Okay, I think that I've probably given you all that I can talk about right now. We've done pretty well. We've answered a whole lot of questions. We've gone through the method. I've shown you some of the tools that I use. There's always more. I'm sure I've forgotten a bunch of stuff, but I think that's probably given you the best overview. The 2 spoons that we've been working on are finished. So the black butt spoon that came out of that had some spalting in it, which is a fungus that gets into the wood. So it's actually darker than black butt normally is. That's pretty beautiful. So this has got my little signature handle. All of my spoons have got that. And the other piece that we were working on was stringy bark, which looked a bit boring, but it's come up really, really pretty. So there it is there. It's a pale wood. It's got some nice little fiddle back through here. And I love the patterning there. And I actually love the back even more. There we go. All right, we are going to finish this off the best way possible, and that is with a giveaway. So Arbortech have been very generous, and they have allowed me to let you have the opportunity to win a PCS. So all you have to do is like my Instagram page and answer what a PCS is. To give you a massive clue, this is what it looks like. So you too can be working in your shed and creating sawdust and a whole lot of magic and a whole lot of fun with one of these. So answer the question, what does PCS stand for? Like my Instagram page, and the good people at Arbortech will send you one of these if you're the winner. You've got to be in it to win it. So get on board, people. You know you want to.